Viewer discretion is expressed for the following program. If you are easily triggered or offended, please exercise caution while viewing this program, because the hosts really don't care. Warning, this show is not for children, and not for coworkers either.
We got it working this morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Biden Family Laundromat, where you can get favorable interest loans. Good morning, everybody. You need money? Deke needs money. Good morning, folks. I'm JJ. That's Deacon. We are your two dads. We meet Monday through Friday to talk about news, politics, culture, pop culture, werewolves, transmissions, changing your oil, gay stuff. I don't know. Just whatever. We drink coffee and we talk shit.
Whatever. Hello.
Yeah, whatever.
How was your weekend? Pop. You said you've been so JJ was doing something interesting when I turned on the camera there a minute ago in the pre-chat. And I was like, okay, he's sitting there typing, and then he raised his hands up, and he was actually sewing this morning. And so explain to us what you're doing, JJ, because he may be sewed so many stuffed animals this weekend.
My kid, I got girls. Hey, listen, men, strapping men out there that are about to be dads or have little baby girls. Your future includes a lot of stuffed animals. And unless you want to just spend a fortune on them. Yeah. Unless you want to just spend a fortune on stuffed animals, you better learn how to operate this shit right here. This is called a needle and thread, because your little beautiful angels are going to tear the shit out of those stuffed animals.
Maggie had I got her a little stuffed monkey, a little chimpanzee, and she called it Ooh Ooh Ah Ah was the name of the monkey's name. So we call him Ooh Ooh Ah Ah, and that was his name. Yeah. And Ooh Ooh Ah Ah and the dog became friends one day. And then Ooh Ooh Ah Ah had to have some plastic surgery done. We had to get pieces from another stuffed animal. So Ooh Ooh Ah Ah now has one eye that is different than the other, and he looks different, but we treat him just the same. We love him just the same.
My daughters have had a couple of toys where they had duplicate versions. Like they had the same one twice, because there's two of them or whatever, and sometimes we'll give them two. And there's this Paw Patrol show, and somebody gave my daughters a Beanie Baby Sky. Sky's this little pink dog. And two exact ones. They're by Ty, and I don't know how they got them, but they got two of them. And they look the same. They look exactly the same. My wife and I pick them up, and we're like, these are exactly the same. Except the daughters know that one of them is open sky, and the other one is closed sky. And we cannot tell the difference. We cannot tell the difference. The girls, though, they're like, I want open sky. Here you go. That's not open sky. What are you talking about? It looks exactly. They are identical. They're not identical. I don't know.
That's funny.
Anyway, yeah. Tell us something about music, and then we can talk about, I don't know, fun stuff like corruption and war.
That's what I was just realizing, that I've been sitting here the whole time and I haven't put my music in, but I can do that real quick. So this month if you go over to our Discord server right above JJ's head, you will see that there is a QR code to take you to our Discord server. We're not mean people. We actually have some pretty cool conversations in there. We'd love to have some different opinions if you differ from us. So please come in there. We'd like to talk to you. And
I want to learn something. Teach me something.
Yeah, you can check out the playlist. And I'm a DJ of over 30 years. I'm trying to expand your mind in music. This month, though, we're playing scary songs and spooky songs. And this is the final week. We've got a week and a day. It's next Tuesday is Halloween. So today we're doing maybe one you've heard before, JJ. You probably haven't heard the whole thing. The End by the Doors. Do you know that song? This is the end. Father,
I feel like I've heard that.
Kill you. You know, that crazy. Jim Morrison was.
Look at all of these songs he has in here. Look at this. This there. Oh, there it is. Doors right there.
There's the Doors.
This one. Yeah.
Don't
He's got so many songs in here. Look at this, folks. You guys are missing out. This is cultural education that you need to get on.
Everything from bluegrass to you saw Marilyn Manson there to there's everything in there. So check it out if you want a and I need to put all these on a Spotify playlist. I really do. Do.
That's going to take a long time now. Should have been doing that before.
So Sinister Minister's giving us werewolf bonus songs all month long. Today's bonus song is We Own the Night. This is from the movie Zombies 2. I haven't heard this until today. And Sinister Minister's like, I've caught myself singing this because the kids watched this and I caught myself singing this. And it's a song about werewolves, and so check it out. It's not bad. It's one of those Disney
Zombies too.
It's like a Disney type, it's not scary, but it's scary. It's scary for kids. You would, I don't know how to explain. Just go listen to it. Go to our website, go to the link, and you'll be like, oh, okay, that's a scary Disney song, is what it is. But it's catchy. It does have a catchy little.
It's got a nice little.
Yeah, it's catchy. So.
Oh yeah, that's like pop. That's like pop music right there. It's like Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera, early era type stuff. That's fun. That's fun. Good morning, everybody. All right, folks. Over the weekend, while a lot of you may have been, I think, is it fair to say, Deke, that you've already gone from deeply concerned about World War III, Hamas, Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, Russia, to have you already transitioned to, I don't really care what's going on over there and leave me out of it, and you're already desensitized to stuff in the newsfeed. It's like, oh, there's another story about Israel.
I think I was like that and it is insensitive, but I think we've been made that way, from extenuating circumstances. And unfortunately, I'm like that. I feel for those. It's not that I don't feel for those people and want them to stop and all this and whatnot, but my main concern is not their well-being.
Right.
Just like their main concern is not my well-being. I'm sure they don't want my family to be bombed and die and stuff, just like I don't want their families to be bombed and die. I want them to live in peace and harmony. But my priorities are Israel is not even in the top 100. Ukraine don't even make the top 500. Okay? I have
that is fair to say.
Things that are priority in my life. My family, taking care of my family and providing for my family is number fucking one. Okay. And I am not able to do that because all of the United States is just printing money out of thin air and sending it to everybody, causing my dollar bill that I work for to be worth 50 cents and a quarter and 10 cents.
I mean, in terms of what you can get for it.
Yeah, it cost me $5 to get a loaf of bread because that dollar is not worth $1 anymore.
Right.
They don't seem to grasp that concept in their head. Oh, it's $1 now. It costs $5. Now it costs $10. No, it still costs $1. That dollar is now worth a dime. That's why when you go to countries like South Korea and you go to buy a candy bar and it's like, that's 80 billion, blah, blah, blah. 80 billion? What the hell?
Right. Yeah. 801 or something like that. Yeah.
So,
isn't it like this idea of purchasing power, which is what you're talking about. You're talking about your purchasing power for your dollar is down. It's down. And that's a difficult concept to explain to people.
Not only are they raising the prices for greed and whatever else, but they're raising the prices because their goods cost more, because fuel costs more to get those goods there, because this costs more. And if everybody raises it up 5 cents, well, if 15 people raise it 5 cents, that's not 5 cents anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's why we're going through in this country. That's the reason why bread has gone up so much. It's not because the wheat and all the ingredients had cost way more. They cost a little more, but it cost a crap ton to get that crap here. And
Right.
they got those truckers and stuff have to make the transportation industry has to make up. But then circling all the way back to your initial question, it's not that I don't care about Israel and what's going on over there, but yes, I am desensitized to it mainly because that's on the other side of the world, and I've got my own problems here in Kentucky. Okay? I love you, and I hope you get through this shit, and if we can help you, that's great, but our country is in a free-for-all right now, and we really
Yeah.
need to be sending
Help.
money or battleships or troops over there because we just got invaded the past 3 years by about 6 million people. So
Right.
we
Oh
really
yeah.
need those troops over here in this country because if we've got them fighting in Ukraine and got them fighting over in Israel and got them all everywhere else that we have in the world, who is here in this country? And let me tell you who's here in this country. It's probably a lot worse than the army. It's a bunch of damn good old boys that I know that's sitting over here about 3 blocks from me. And you don't want to mess, you would rather mess with a soldier than you would Bubba Hunter. And that's his real
Right.
name. That's his birth name, Bubba Hunter. I'm not even lying.
So we are going to talk about war, but the reason why I ask is that, like the environment that we're in, the media environment where you're just kind of like following news and stuff, we have these two major conflicts that don't involve the US, but come on, they 100% involve the US, right? And I mean, we got like soldiers preparing to get orders to deploy to the Middle East. We already have cruisers over there. And then on top of that, on top of these two different war zones that we're being dragged into by incompetent leadership around the world. Not only that, we also have a United States Congress that's totally dysfunctional, which under normal circumstances is totally great, except because I don't want them doing anything. But the House Republicans have graduated from one terrible speaker to two terrible candidates. Maybe not. They're both terrible. To now they're like, well, I guess we're not going to pick any of those two. Here's 9 other people that suck. So the House, so part of the news cycle is the failure of the Republican House. Part of the news cycle is war. And then, you got just enough to publish a story like, oh, here's a $200,000 check that Joe Biden got from his brother that came from another company that it very much looks like money laundering. And how much attention is that going to get when you've got wars and the federal government falling apart? So if you remember, this was like 4 months ago. Joe Biden. Let me switch windows here. Joe Biden was given a little speech, a little 40-minute speech somewhere, and a journalist asked him at the end, "Hey, do you have any concerns about these accusations of influence peddling, etc.?" Here's Joe making a ha-ha.
I'm supposed to walk off the stage now. But wait.
Bribery allegation. Congresswoman Nancy Mace says there's damning evidence in that FBI file that you sold out the country. Do you have a response to
Smile. That's a deflection
Where's
tactic.
the money?
See?
Mr. President,
That's a deflection tactic.
You're absolutely right. He does that every single time.
Both of those things are deflection tactics that they use all the time, and most people don't study that crap and don't read that crap. I'm watching his face, I'm watching his smile, I'm even watching his hand gestures and shit and his body posture and whatnot. And you can see he started smiling as soon as they said that because he was like, "You little shit, watch this." And then he uses a joke to deflect it, and no one else is going to have the balls to say anything. But I guarantee you that guy that just said that over there, he won't be there anymore. Mark my word.
I don't know who that was.
I don't either,
but
he's not going to be invited anymore. I guarantee it.
So Joe Biden's response to that was, "Where's the money? Ha ha ha! Shit-eating grin. Ha ha ha! Where's the money?" So over the weekend, your neighbor James Comer posted this from the House Oversight Committee on Twitter. A little video, kind of. We're not going to play this video, but little statement that they have found a $200,000 direct payment to Joe Biden. Here is the check that was written from Sarah and James Biden's personal account to Joseph Biden for $200,000. It says here, loan repayment. We talked about this kind of stuff a couple weeks back on the show. maybe I think we did, where like for instance, if somebody pays you something, Deke, because you're an honest citizen, you're gonna and it's a I don't know, say over $100 or whatever. You're gonna report that on your taxes as income.
Absolutely,
right?
JJ. I sure do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I know you will. And that income gets taxed, right? But if you have made a loan to somebody and you report that income as it's not as income as a loan repayment, well, it's not income, and then it doesn't get taxed. This is a trick that is used a bunch to circumnavigate the IRS and tax obligations. So here is the scenario that is being presented by James Comer. There's a company called AmeriCorps Health LLC, which was a failing hospital and medical company, and this failing company paid $200,000 to James and Sarah Biden to their personal account, and the very same day, James Biden made a loan repayment to Joe Biden. Now, what does that look like to you? That sure as shit looks like somebody washed some money through through the Biden's Biden laundromat right there.
Well,
so oh wow, where's the money?
Right there.
It's in your bank account, asshole.
It's in your bank account. That's exactly right.
Yeah. So I saw this other story. The biggest developments in the Biden crime family scandal. So we know that Hunter Biden has done stuff wrong, right? And we know that Victor Shokin was a threat to Burisma. So Hunter Biden had Joe Biden go to Ukraine and get Victor Shokin fired. And we know that Joe Biden changed official U.S. policy to be able to hold that $1 billion hostage to get Victor Shokin fired. And we know that Joe Biden met with Hunter's business partners. We have like photos of them playing golf together. We have testimony from Bob Ulinsky and so forth. And we even have this check now that shows money going from AmeriCorps to James Biden. That's family business. And then from James Biden to Joe Biden. But, they say that he never had anything to do with their business. And we know that Hunter Biden made millions from China. And now we know that Joe Biden got direct financial benefits from this stuff. Okay. So that's the news over the weekend. But, you might, a little thing like corruption of your president might get washed out by bombs of children and people getting run over by tanks and other shit. All right. We got some other stories. Let's see, we obviously have to talk a little bit about the Hamas war. Israel has created a special unit. You might not know this. And then I pushed the wrong button. Here it is. Israel has just created a special unit to hunt and kill every participant in the Hamas terror attacks. So I don't know. I don't even know how many of these paragliding air that flew into Israel on October 7th, but however many there were, Israel has put together a kill team, and they're just going to go kill them wherever they're at.
Like a Inglorious Bastards type team.
Exactly like that. They have this internal security service they call Shin Bet. They have a unit called Neely, and their entire mission is find them and kill them.
This is Inglorious Bastards 2. Really,
it really is.
We call him Bad Jew because he likes to kill Palestinians. This is Inglorious Bastards.
Oh my God, that is such a good movie. And we were talking about Quentin last week. Hey, go watch our show last week. Our Quentin Tarantino.
If somebody isn't writing Inglorious Bastards 2 based on the Jewish people and the Palestinian people,
for sure,
missing out.
Quentin is in Israel. You could be writing Inglorious Bastards 2. You could put Quentin in the movie.
We just wrote a movie. We just wrote a blockbuster. Sweet.
Right. Apparently this name Neely has been used before in the Jewish Virtual Library says that the name Neely, which is the name of this kill team, was also the name of a spy ring used by Jewish settlers in Palestine during the Ottoman Empire. and during the British First World War. So I don't know what any of that means. Do you have any thoughts whatsoever about Israel putting together a kill team to kill assholes that killed Israelis? I'm just like, keep us out of it. You guys do whatever the fuck you want. Kind of.
No, yeah, I'm that way. All right, you guys are going to go and defend yourselves and defend your homes and defend your women and children. Okay.
Yeah.
What am I to say about that?
I don't know. I just didn't know if it was maybe something that'd be like, morally repugnant, maybe.
Morally repugnant about defending your wives and children and neighbors and these people.
I don't know. When does it stop being defense, and when does it start being like something else? But
that's where the questions start, and that's where you have to start going back and going through and looking, and you go down to what the old saying, get down to the brass tacks. You get all the way down to the foundation, and you find out where the foundation of this is.
Yeah,
and that is where the blame is. So you have to keep asking the question, why? You have to keep asking that question, why? And even when somebody tells you an answer, you still have to figure out why. There's other you can't just be satisfied. I don't find anything morally repugnant with defending yourself. But like you said,
I don't know.
But it's when you've defended yourself, if you're having a festival and you're having a good time and you're not hurting anybody, and all of a sudden your enemy paratroopers in and kills a bunch of women and children and rapes them and murders them and drags them through the street and keeps them as torture. And then in physics, every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And this is the reaction to that action. So the bigger the splash, the bigger the reactionary wave. The smaller the splash, the smaller the reactionary wave. So paratrooping into a concert, slaughtering people, the reaction, death squad hunting you down.
Yeah, that's what it is. Man. This is not like we're not living in a scenario where there's like, oh, here's some law and order justice. Well, we will go hunt them down and arrest them and bring them to trial and give them justice. There's none of that happening.
Here's a really good definition of the meek shall inherit the earth. Okay, because that word meek, no one knows what that word means, and we have gotten us stupid because we're idiots and we don't look up stuff. We just think, oh, the meek. To meek a horse back in the Roman times was to take a wild horse and tame it down so that it followed its master, but it also defended its master. And it did what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to either be a workhorse or a war horse or a farm horse or something like that. That was called meeking a horse. And to be meek is to follow your master, to do what your master says. But if you need to take out that sword and use it to defend your master every once in a while, hey man, that's it. The turn the other cheek thing, I think that's been, me personally, think that's been just misunderstood. You should pick up your sword and draw it and use it. It takes the bigger man to not draw his sword and to know when to draw the sword. All right. But to draw the sword and use it, there's nothing against that. When you need to draw the sword and use it, draw it and use it.
Right.
But you have to know when that time is possible. You can't just be drawing the sword all the damn time just because you don't like something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, definitely you can't just be indiscriminate about the use of violence. I just,
right. Like, it takes a very wise man to do that, but I don't think it's wrong to draw your sword, use it.
Not we. I say we because, like, as long as it's like America standing beside Israel or whatever, like whatever Israel does, we're complicit in it, right? I mean, like, my position is like, don't get involved. Don't send people over there. Like, we shouldn't be sending. We sure shouldn't be sending $100 million to terrorists, motherfuckers. So, well, can we just like not be involved? And like, but when we interfere and meddle, because that's what America does, meddle in other people's things, then, like whatever is happening over there, where Israel is putting together a death squad, and maybe they're just going to kill Hamas terrorists that were participating in the raid. Maybe there's a little collateral damage, a little backsplash, a little extra killing. I mean, at what point are we culpable for that kind of stuff? You know? So I don't know. I just, it seems like so much easier to just be like, don't involve us. Well, there is already backsplash in the U.S. We have protests everywhere, and over the weekend, the president of a Detroit synagogue, Samantha Wall, was stabbed to death.
Mm.
Yeah, so we are already having. I mean, the repercussions of all of this are already here.
You knew that was going to happen all over the world, not just in America, but all over the world. Palestinians all over the world are going to face repercussions. This is what we call history repeating itself, kids. When you don't pay attention, this is what happens. The same thing happened to the Japanese in America in 1940s. The same thing. You got
protests, pro-Palestine, pro-Israel. Obviously, these two sides over there are in direct conflict, and you bring these protests here, and now you have conflict here, and all it does is create this animosity, and things escalate, and then eventually it turns to violence.
Where 95% of Americans don't give a shit and don't want it over here, but this 2% protesting, and this 2% over here is pissed off at them, and they're causing all the fucking problems when 95% of us don't give a crap.
Just Samantha Wall, president of the Isaac Agree Downtown Synagogue in Detroit, Michigan, was murdered Saturday outside her home, found stabbed to death. In addition to being a Jewish community leader and prominent Democratic Party activist, Wall was co-founder of the Muslim Jewish Forum of Greater Detroit, an interfaith organization. She was the founder of an organization that was meant to bridge the divide between these two groups, where one hates the other to death, and ostensibly, as far as I know. And and there's certainly probably a lot of animosity between Muslims and Jews, especially right now. So anyway,
especially right now.
Especially right now. Sucks. This sucks.
It sucks, but this was almost like you should have anticipated violent crime coming to someone like that is doing that. Anyone that tries to foster peace between two warring parties, especially two warring parties that have been fighting for 3,000 years now, 4,000 years, you're probably not going to do very well in your success getting them peace.
And such hubris to think that, in our time, you can finally have, if people have been battling for generations, and you think in your life you can end the war, you can win the war, or you can bring peace.
It just takes one. It just takes one, JJ.
Okay.
Me and you, we're preaching the wrong thing.
Oh.
This is where it comes back to I've got more priorities. I've got shit to do. I can't afford to feed my family. Y'all, my name's Paul, and this shit's between y'all. Get it off my lawn. Take it somewhere else.
Especially the violence. So we also have this. This is not related at all to the Hamas war, but we got some other religious news. Pray for our leaders. A Mississippi church has split from the pro-LGBTQ plus United Methodist denomination. I'm not a Methodist. Well, because as I was reading,
happened thousands of times already. It happened like 10 times in my county. I think we have one or two Methodist churches left. All the rest of them are called something else now.
The reason why I think this is interesting is not only the volume of defection from these Methodist church organizations, but I think it is I think it may be a signal that the culture is like fed up with this rainbow shit a little bit. Okay. Christ United Methodist Church of Jackson, labeled by the Western Journal as one of the largest United Methodist church bodies in Mississippi, voted on Sunday to disaffiliate from the United Methodist Church Mississippi Conference. The vote was a landslide victory in favor of those who wanted to disassociate from modern Methodism, with 717 members voting to leave and 112 opposing. Although the Universal Methodist Church Book of Discipline does not allow the blessing of same-sex marriages or the ordination of people of same-sex unions. Many Methodist churches do not enforce these stances. So the modern Methodist Church has been like super welcoming and lax when it comes to, gay stuff. And I guess the church body, the regular people that go to church were like, tap, I'm out. I want out.
Okay, JJ.
Look how many, according to the UM News, the official news gathering agency of UMC, 4,645 churches officially split from the UMC so far this year.
So
it's
let
a
me tell
lot.
you why this doesn't mean anything. Okay.
Okay.
Unless you're a Methodist, of course, but how this doesn't
Right.
mean anything. We all know what a denomination is, right? It is,
Right.
here, let me read to you the official, a recognized autonomous branch of the Christian church. The word autonomous, of course, having freedom to govern itself, right? Do you know how many denominations of Christianity there are? Just take a guess.
I don't know. Probably like, on the major order, probably hundreds.
Okay.
But, if you count
What's
every single body as its own.
worldwide and then the U.S. Worldwide and then U.S.
Well, I know that
Globally,
the largest denomination is probably Catholics. And then
how many
I have no
different
idea.
denominations
I don't know.
of what Jesus said? How many different bodies that are able to
I don't have an
govern
answer.
themselves?
I don't have an answer.
There's 200 in the U.S. alone.
Okay. That sounds right.
There's 45,000 globally
45,000 denominations.
of Christianity.
And this is 4,000 churches of one denomination.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one big denomination. The Methodist Church is a huge denomination
The
in the
Methodist
U.S.
Church, you can say huge. I like to use the word profitable. The Methodist Church in the United States is a very profitable organization. The conference is a very I'm not saying anything negative. I'm stating facts. Just like the Catholic Church is a very profitable organization, and the Southern Baptist Convention is a very profitable organization. You have to keep that in the back of your mind, and you cannot forget that not everyone is motivated by the same thing. And when you have people in a profitable organization at the top and power and stuff like that, the corruption begins. Not every time, but you have to not.
So I certainly can't speak to like the finances of the Methodist churches.
Either.
I can speak to the finances of like our church, where every quarter we have budget meetings and then we have transparent finances and we allocate funding for our staff and for our
financing of churches. I don't even want to talk about this subject anymore.
Right.
Honestly, I was just trying to point out that this Methodist church and everybody's dropping from this. Well, hell, this has been going on for like 5 years now. And this story is like not news to me. I'm like, okay, well, we've seen.
Yeah, but it's one thing whenever it goes from kind of traditional conservative values and strong favor of like the rainbow affiliation, but this is going the other way.
That's what I'm getting at. You have an organization that has made a lot of money for several decades, and then all of a sudden they're dropping out like flies and they're not going to make a lot of money. Motivation turns from God to money for some people. Because we've been used to this lifestyle. There's some of them damn preachers on TV that had private jets, and when they ask him about it, he's got, I got to spread the word of Jesus to everybody. That's why I got a $500,000 private jet. People get motivated by certain things. If they've lived a certain lifestyle for a certain way, and then all of a sudden 5,000 of your donors are don't going to be donating anymore, we're going to have to take some drastic action. And then the motivation doesn't come from there. It comes from your wallet is all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, you can't. Okay. All right. I mean, I'll give you that is very likely, but it also seems like it wasn't necessarily divinely inspired to go support the Rainbow Coalition either. Like that seems like a political overture. We got the Pope. Pope's got a message for you. Pope's got something important for you to say. The Vatican calls for. Yeah, Vatican calls for
politics and religion in polite company, and that's all we talk about on this damn show.
Vatican calls for general and complete disarmament of outer space. So the Pope says, get your guns out of my outer space. Get your guns, missiles, and bombs out of my outer space.
Okay, we sure will there, Francie. No problems. That's all we need. Is that all you need? What else do you need? Huh? Do you mind if we take the missiles and all the lasers out of outer space? We want something in return. Okay. This is what we want in return, JJ. We want complete and unfettered access to the Vatican archives.
Ooh, let's go. Let's do it.
We'll take all of our shit from outer space. You give us access to that 5 miles of archive that you have been storing down there for 2,000 freaking years. I want to see what some of that stuff says. That's what I want. But I'm a tinfoil hat wearing crazy man.
I mean, I'm curious. I'm curious what's down there. I'm curious.
I've heard stories.
Supposedly, I didn't know this. Supposedly, there's a like an international treaty that says that no country is supposed to have weapons of mass destruction in orbit.
If anyone in America doesn't think there are weapons in orbit, you are a simple-minded simpleton. And you really need to evaluate the real world, because if China is doing it, then we're not just going to sit back and go,
yeah, well, we signed a treaty.
Well, our treaty says we can't do it, but they're just doing it anyway. I don't know why they're making super soldiers. We better not make super soldiers, though, because we're not supposed to. But China is. You think we're doing that?
I don't know. I don't think the United States is making bioengineering super soldiers, but I do think China is.
All right. If China is, and you don't think America is not,
I don't think we are.
Dude, just use your rational brain for a second.
No, we're probably doing other stuff. We're probably doing
person you're
drug
scared
cocktails
of invading you and have been for years, and they're making Superman over here with DNA, dude. We better fuck that treaty. We better have a Superman retaliation. We better make Doomsday over here. If he's making Superman, we better be working on Doomsday.
Look, I see your point, but I don't want to.
Too bad if you don't want to. I really don't want to either. But when your hand's forced, you've got to do something to retaliate, to defend yourself. If you just sit here and go, well, y'all are making super soldiers and we're not supposed to, then you've got about 10 years before the super soldiers come over here and kick your ass.
Maybe.
I'm just saying. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm an idiot.
So let's go to border news. There was Mexico had a new police chief on the job for 2 days at a border state, not in the U.S., on the other side of the border, Mexican border. They have states too. And they had a state and had a new police chief in there. And his name was Nuevo Leon. And I'm saying past tense.
You're saying past tense.
Yeah. Unfortunately, on his second day on the job, a group of cartel gunmen killed the police chief of Hidalgo. His name wasn't Nuevo Leon. That's the city. Hidalgo, Nuevo Leon, who had just began his second day on the job at a Mexican border state and continues to experience a dramatic spike in drug shootings and killings. So Mexico is dangerous as fuck, and cartels are in charge. And those cartel guys are sending fentanyl over here. They're killing people. They're trafficking minors, children, and women. They're running coyotes to get people across the border. Some of those people are Mexican. A lot of those people are not Mexican. Some of those people are terrorists. Oh no, what do we do? You got any solutions?
Yeah, but we'll probably get kicked off YouTube if I say them.
Can we use some of those satellite guns?
We got some satellite lasers, don't we? I hear we do.
Yeah, I don't know. The Nuevo Leon, I guess that's the province. Governor Samuel Garcia has basically ignored the raging violence in his state while he tries to lure foreign investment and business development. So cartels are just straight murdering people, and the politician is just acting like it's not happening. He was like, hey, would you like to bring your bank here?
Well, it's probably because he's probably been threatened his family, his kids, or something like that. So he's got to play the game.
He's
And I
on the
guarantee
payroll.
you, this sheriff was like, I'm going to stop this stuff. I'm going to do this. I'm behind you. I'm one of the people. I guarantee you. I guarantee that.
Yeah.
That's why he lasted 2 days. 2 days.
Yeah.
So I
Not
don't know.
good.
That's where America's heading. This is going to be northern Mexico before too long, because the cartels are going to be controlling everything if they don't already in the United States, and you just don't know about it.
Oh, Deke, there's no cartels in the U.S.
No, there are. We've just made them corporations. They're called corporations in the United States. They're not called cartel. We use a different word over here.
We also have the
But
cartels.
it's basically the same thing.
Yeah. So China may have some other problems, maybe not. I don't know. The story was on Breitbart, and we've talked before about birth rate. We talked about the demographics of the human birth rate collapsing. The human reproductive birth rate is collapsing pretty much everywhere, and there's evidence that it may also be collapsing in China. A baby factory in Ireland that manufactured and shipped baby formula to China with 1 billion people, is closing down because of lack of demand of baby food. It's kind of weird.
If they've started making it themselves in China, it wouldn't put me
Part of it is producing food in China. Yes.
Wow, we're a country. Let's take the next 100 years and become self-sufficient and start growing stuff in other countries that we can and shipping it back over here. And let's provide everything for the entire world. Okay, all of the main stuff. Let's get that world relies on. Let's provide it, but let's not rely on the world. Let's try to have this and this and this that all is produced in the United States or in our country.
Well,
okay.
Deke.
Gosh, this sounds like a really interesting chess game, don't it, JJ? It sounds like you're fixing to get your queen taken, is what it looks like to me.
Deke, you sound so xenophobic when you say that.
I'm a crazy conspiracy storytelling guy, though. What do I know?
Nestle announced on Wednesday that it's going to shutter or sell the Wyeth Nutrition Baby Formula Factory in Askeaton, Ireland, no later than the first quarter of 2026. The number of newborn babies in China has declined sharply from 18 million per year in 2016 to fewer than 9 million projected in 2023. The market, which previously been reliant on imported infant formula products, is also seeing rapid growth in locally produced products. So you're right, Deke. They're starting to grow their own baby formula, but there's also indication that that China has a dropping reproduction rate. China officially announced over the summer that its fertility rate had dropped to an astonishing 1.09, possibly giving it the lowest fertility rate of any large nation. The health sciences dean at Peking University projected fewer than 8 million births for 2023, an astounding number for an adult population as huge as China. The long-term ramifications of that are devastating, as the people that are middle-aged now grow into the end of their end-of-life care, and the people replacing them are fewer and fewer and fewer. That means there's going to be fewer people to provide life like services, helping old people, producing food, whatever. The long-term ramifications of a 1.09 reproduction rate is bad. Like the U.S., you need to have a 2 just to keep your same population. If it's a 1, it's going to be shrinking drastically. So
the U.S. has had a declining birth rate for 100 years.
That's true.
Look at all of the old people. How many brothers and sisters did your grandmother and grandfather have?
My grandfather there were 9 of them, I think.
Yeah.
I think he had 8 siblings.
Yeah. See, my mother had 11 brothers and sisters. My dad had 5 sisters. You don't have families like that anymore.
No.
You don't.
I mean, part of it is being a post-agrarian society. In agrarian society, it behooved you to have a lot of kids, work the land, bring in food and, get
go
things
through
done.
cycles, and we're at the crisis cycle right now. All right. The crisis cycle is about every 80 years, and the last one was in the 30s and the 40s. The one before that was in the 1860s and the 1870s. It happens roughly about every 80 years. We go through this crisis. All right. We are in the crisis cycle right now. When we get done with this war, just like World War II, it was very prosperous in America. America was booming. Right after World War II, America was booming for about 15, 20 years, and that's a cycle. You can look at American history and pick these 4 cycles that it goes through, and we are in the last one right now. It's called a crisis, and that's where we're at. The same stuff has happened before in this country like 4 times.
So, I just looked it up. The U.S. fertility rate is like around 1.8. So it's less than 2. That means we have a shrink.
Immigrants come in this past years.
Yeah. The only reason that we are growing as a country is because we are bringing in, we're importing replacements. So yeah, not good. We've talked about unions a couple times. We got a few minutes left. We got 2 more stories, Deke. We talked about unions a couple times. You have a kind of different, I would say, position on unions than I do. I'm more or less like no unions. Negotiate for yourself, and you have a different environment over there. A California technical worker allegedly was fired for refusing to join the union. There's some interesting things in this story. I don't live or want to live in California, but a Bay Area construction materials worker says she was fired for refusing to join the International Union of Operating Engineers and has filed federal charges against this other company. In California, it is legal for private sector workers to be forced to pay union dues as a condition of maintaining employment, even if they do not join the union.
Well, that's y'all's fucking fault for living in California, is all I got to fucking say.
Right. And apparently they could just garner your wages, and they could just take your money.
Let me tell you, for what you're paying for that little 800 square foot house in California, you can get about a 3,000 square foot house with a couple of acres here in Kentucky.
Yeah.
I'm not even making that up.
How crazy is it? Which one of you California retards thought it was a great idea for somebody else to get to just take your money? I guess you just like having your money taken.
No,
why?
It's a lot more complicated than that, and I can see why they're doing this and where they're doing it, and I can see the reasons that they would give. And whether I agree with them or not is irrelevant, but I can see the reasons that they give for doing this. Especially especially underlined 3 times in a state like California. Right.
So earlier in the show, you're talking about those churches are profitable, and at a certain point, greed and money might become a motivating factor.
Yeah.
Any lessons you can take from that and apply to unions that force you to turn over your wages?
We'd ask Jimmy Hoffa, but we can't find his body still.
Yeah. So, I mean, that law is obviously
for those of you younger people that don't know, Jimmy Hoffa was the Teamsters, a union leader. All right.
Yeah.
And he was killed, and no one's ever found his body.
I think he might be partially supporting a building right now.
Yeah, I've seen several things where they've dug up. There was a football field one time where they dug up.
Yeah, they just dug up a football field. Yeah. There's nobody there.
Yep.
All right. So good luck to her. It's California. You're not going to win.
I think differently about some unions. Some unions have been very positive around here. My dad was a part of the steel workers union. No, the iron rubber workers union. I think is what it was when he worked at General Tire, when we had a tire plant in here and that employed hundreds of people, and they had good jobs and whatnot. And the union would have to go on. I remember this as a kid, dad would go to the union meetings, and the union was battling against this major corporation that wanted to shut this shit down. Well, the fucking guys needed this shit. The unions, or the company's trying to save money. The unions battling to make this thing safer for everyone and whatnot. And I can remember Dad always talking very positive about the union is battling these corporations. You want me to tell you where the union lost? When Bill Clinton come into office and started sending everything around everywhere. All right. Because I can remember
exporting and manufacturing.
I can remember my dad saying the reason they're shutting down our tire plant is because they've never wanted to update the equipment over the past 10 years. There's a brand spanking new high production updated facility that they had built down in Brazil. And the $20 an hour in 1990 that they were making here, they were paying like $4 an hour equivalent in Brazil.
Yeah.
So that's why, and Bill Clinton's little thing, the Democrats' little thing back in, and I didn't know what the
North American Trade Organization or whatever.
NAFTA.
Yeah.
I didn't understand any of that crap. I just understand what people, and after I've gotten older, I've looked into it and been like, well, why my dad lost his job. Why hundreds of people around here had to I had a buddy that had just gotten over there and got his freaking great job. And he had worked there like 3 or 4 years, had bought a house, had bought a new truck, had bought a boat.
Yeah.
Lost it all.
So part of it is policy set by politicians, especially exporting manufacturing and making it. I mean, if you have no tariffs on imports and you make it where manufacturers can manufacture stuff elsewhere and bring it in cheaper, of course they're going to do that in their business sense. You can guard that with policy, but the whole thing that the Democrats did was to, not just the Democrats, okay, it was a bunch of politicians.
Yeah,
but what they did, they basically sold out all manufacturing in the U.S. Right? They could have guarded that with policy and made it, made it where there weren't enormous business case interests to export manufacturing. They could have guarded that. Now,
the business told them, if you let me take it out of America and move down to Brazil, I'll give you a cut.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's probably some of that happened for sure. And the unions, there's definitely a point in American history where unions made things safer, but they also made things more expensive, right?
I'm not saying they're all good, but they have. I have seen the good side that you haven't seen.
So yeah, I mean, I'm just saying there's, it's not like it's all good, right?
I've got buddies that are in different unions around here in the plants and stuff, and they're
sure.
And I'm sure there's some I'm sure somebody's skimming off the top somewhere and whatnot. I'm not saying it's all up and up, but you pay for this representation, and I've seen the representation work as a child for my family.
Okay.
It was worth the investment. On the flip side, I've paid insurance every month for 2 or 3 years and hadn't had to use it. Can I get that money back, please? So you get what you see. The union to me is more of a freaking investment than fucking insurance is. Because then when you have an accident, I've got to battle with them to fix my $2,000 car when I've sent you $30,000.
Yeah,
I've sent you $30,000 and you're giving me shit because I've got to have a $2,000 thing fixed on my car.
All right, for sure. Ass. All right. We got one last story here. Let me see what you think about this. There's a woman. Let's see. What's her name? Let's get her name here. Susan Hodgson.
Susan. I went to school with her.
Susan. Yeah. Susan Hodgson owned a house for over 4 decades. And I guess I don't know if it was over the weekend. I'm not sure when this was. It was accidentally demolished. Here it is. Hodgson revealed her house, which she had owned for 4 decades, was mistakenly demolished. The company responsible for the demolition has yet to make any contact with her, according to the Associated Press. It came to light when Hodgson received a call from her neighbor while she was away on vacation. The neighbor asked her if she hired someone to tear down her house. Hodgson said, no. And it was at that moment she learned of what was happening, and she was away. Can you imagine being on vacation somewhere around the country, somewhere around the world? You get a phone call from your neighbor. Hey, your house is being torn down, and there's nothing you can do. I'm furious, Hodgson said to AP. I keep waking up thinking, is this all a joke or something? I'm just in shock. She comes home from vacation and to that. Hodgson said the property had been boarded up and maintained for 15 years with ongoing effort to keep it secure, the grass cut, and the yard clean. She had ensured the taxes on the property were paid, maintaining the property's legality, ownership status, the outlet reported. In response to the demolition, Hodgson has taken the necessary steps, including filing a police report and consulting with lawyers. So this woman goes on vacation, Deke, and comes back, and it's not a house she lives in, I don't think. I think it's a property that she owned, but it was just destroyed.
Yeah.
How do you even take that phone call? Hey, your house, it's gone. They knocked it down.
Do you know what the first thing that I think of when I see a story like this and coming from the AP?
It's probably bullshit.
No, the first thing that goes through my mind is, man, it's a slow fucking news day at the Associated.
Yeah, right.
We got a cow that's out loose from Uncle John's barn. Y'all be careful. He might be out there on Highway 48.
Yeah.
You know, when the news is reporting about the lost dog, you're like, whoa. It's a good thing.
I guess I just read it and I was like, I would hate it if my house was broke while I was on vacation.
Yeah, but she wasn't. It wasn't like she come home. See, that's a perfect example of the news story grabbing you. Woman comes home from vacation and house was blah blah blah, and it's like it wasn't her house. It was a It was a freaking.
In fact,
house
no, hold on. Look at this
story. There was an ongoing effort to keep the property up. She didn't say the property was kept up. That words there make you think, oh, well, she tried. Did she try? Really? You know those people. Well, I think you're an ongoing effort to keep it up. What, did you ask your cousin and he didn't fucking do it because he was smoking weed? That's the only effort you gave? That you were hounding your cousin?
Of course I got tricked. Look at the headline.
Yeah.
Company mistakenly demolishes woman's Atlanta home. She wasn't living in it, is boarded up.
But there is nothing wrong. That headline is not false, considering what the story is about. But
when you say word home, you say the word home, you mean like, oh, I got pictures in there.
And, lives.
You know, yeah, that's not what it was.
No, that's funny.
Fake news. You're right. I got fake news.
I do sometimes do. You've pulled it on me before. I've pulled up a story and you're like, dude, you got fake news. And I'm like, shit, I got fake news, man. You've done that like 3 or 4 times to me. So yeah, I mean, I'm not picking on you. I'm trying to point out.
You're right. I'm glad you pointed that out.
It is to people, because even me and you,
professionals like this,
we look for that stuff. I actively look for things like that. Like, have you ever noticed how I bitched about this one day? Have you ever noticed how the national news on the radio, they will set the stories up to brainwash you? I can set up a story about gun control, and then I can put a story about voting for Joe Biden, and then I can put a local story about voting for a Democrat. I brainwashed you for a second. I put all those puzzle pieces together just by how I assorted my news that I was reading to you.
Yeah.
I look for stuff like that. So not everybody does, but I've read the news for 30 years.
Well, I think maybe I accidentally got you to, I was reading news about war, news about conflict, news about space. And then I got you to say, hey, we need to make super soldiers in the U.S. advocating for gene manipulation.
I've got a cool story, but I'm not going to save it. I'm just going to post this in our supporters chat because this might be one that we want to talk to Dave about. And it was a story that I came across and I read last week, and I just found it again. I was like, oh, that was a good one. That they believe human consciousness may be a side effect. It was a really interesting theory. It's a theory. It's just a guy's brand new theory, and it was it's pretty interesting. I'm gonna post it right now. Yeah, it's a long article and it gets really scientific, but it's really good.
Dave's made some comments in the chat while we were talking, but I had the Rumble thing on the wrong sub tab and I didn't see the chat coming in. I've been looking over there for chats and I was looking in the wrong spot. Maybe we'll see if Dave has some comments on that.
Okay.
This week. Yeah, Fridays. On Fridays we do Liar's Table. All right, it's joke time.
Joke time.
If
you join our Discord server, please leave JJ a joke. We like to read them, but He never uses.
Oh, you know what?
any of
Do
them.
Good put a joke in. Let's put this. Let's tell Do Good's joke. He sent a joke in this morning.
Yeah, he did.
This
And I
morning.
think next Wednesday, November the 1st, I'm going to start posting. I don't know how long we'll go. We'll try to go for a week and a half or so of German artists, German musical artists. Because
Why
our
Germans?
because Do
Oh.
Good listens and watches us from
Oh,
Germany.
okay.
And he is an honorary Kentuckian, Do Good is, because he lived over here like 10 miles down the road. The reason we met is because he played MCOC and he listened to our
Yeah.
podcast, and he
Yeah,
commented.
yeah.
He commented one time, and his little handle, Do Good, is spelled the exact same way that a street my ex-wife lived on when we were dating in this college town. She
Right.
lived in there was a little apartment complexes back there that it was cheap, and that's where the students lived. They were little one-room things, and that was the Do Good apartments. And so I mentioned to him, I was like, I've never seen that spelled any other way than this. And he was like, I went to school in Murray. I lived on Do Good Drive. I know that. That's why I'm named that. So I took a picture. When last time I was him, I took a picture and sent it. And I think it's his Twitter, his ex profile picture is the picture that I took and sent to him of the Do Good Drive
really?
in
Oh,
Murray,
wow.
the sign Do Good. So yeah,
All
I've
right.
known him for a long time. So he's an honorary Kentuckian.
Well,
so we're gonna do
Do
German.
Good's joke. I'll tell Do Good's joke, and then you yours. I'll do mine.
Okay.
Do Good put it onto our channel, on our dad joke channel. I guess because of music last week, it was. He says I just scrolled up through Deke's playlist, and it reminded me of this joke. What do you call a cougar that has lost her hearing?
Mm,
A deaf leopard.
a deaf leopard. Ear.
Here, this is for you, sir. There you go, Do Good. That's terrible. That's a bad joke.
All right,
All right,
JJ,
Deke.
here's my joke today.
Yeah,
Why do
yeah.
hippies wear corduroy? You see a lot of hippies wearing the corduroy pants and the bell
Man,
bottoms.
I hated corduroy
I had a pair of
pants when I was a
corduroy
kid.
pants when I was a
Hated
kid.
those things.
So why do hippies
Zit,
wear
zit,
corduroy?
zit, 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 zit. I don't know why. Why do?
Because it's groovy, man. It's groovy.
Oh my God! Oh, jeez. You did not deserve the laughs on
No,
that.
I did not deserve the laugh.
All right, Deke. Here's my joke for today. Why are walruses never offended?
I don't
Oh,
know.
you should get this.
I know this one, but I'm not thinking of it. I don't know.
Deke, they have thick skin.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of it.
Yeah. Ew. Okay. All right, folks. Thanks for watching the show. Like, subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Rumble.com/JJW.
Viewer discretion is expressed for the following program. If you are easily triggered or offended, please exercise caution while viewing this program, because the hosts really don't.
That's
One, Fred.
wrong. I pushed the wrong button.
You did.